Hi, this is Denise Estrada, and you're watching True School Sports.
All right. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, my bad, guys. Been out for a minute without doing no videos like in front of the camera. Been a little sick. I was sick for about a good 10 days or so, 11, 12 days. It was a long time, so that's why you haven't been getting videos from me. But we're back, and just wanted to do this post-fight video. You guys didn't know this morning. I didn't get a chance to watch it live, but I just got done watching it on YouTube. This morning, you had the big 118-pound clash over there in Japan between Shinsuke Yamanka, who was the second longest reigning champion in boxing, and a guy in Louis Nery. He fought a guy in Louis Nery who was last year the prospect of the year by a lot of people. A guy who was stopping a lot of gatekeepers, and he beat I think he beat David Sanchez, who was a former world champion. So he had some good names on his resume, but he really hadn't made that real huge big step up fight. And this is his first fight for Nery. It was his first fight outside of Mexico. He had 20 plus fights in Mexico, never been outside of Mexico. So not only does he not fight in Mexico, he has to go all the way over to Japan and fight a guy in Yamanaka who has been around the block, who has had a lot of success in boxing. For Yamanaka, this was his 13th. He was attempting his 13th title defense against a guy in Nery, who's just the young upstart. The guy that you kind of just expect big things from in the future. So Yamanaka's been champion since November 6th, 2011. So obviously he's been doing something right. And it was a good fight, man. It was a good fight. For those of you who don't know, Nery stopped Yamanaka in the fourth round, and he had a great performance. I've only seen clips of him. I've seen bits and pieces of him. I haven't really had a chance to sit down and study his skill set, but I liked what I saw from Nery. Nery was and obviously when you look at him, he's not the quickest guy in the world. He doesn't have incredible foot speed. He's not a Romo Gonzalez. He's not a a Manny Pacquiao level foot speed or anything like that. But what I like about him is that he's he's a very smart decision maker in the ring, very defensively responsible, very has good reflexes, so he can transition from his defense to his offense very quickly. And it showed in that fourth round. And we're gonna go round by round because there really weren't many rounds to go through anyway. So we'll start in round one. Louis Nery comes out, shows good defensive ability. Yamanaka's throwing that jab out there, not really landing it. Nery's parrying it with the left and the right, and sometimes he has to go down to parry. But regardless, he's making sure that Yamanaka cannot get his jab established, because if he does get that jab established, then that allows Yamanaka to shoot that very dangerous and powerful left hand, which has won him so many fights over the years. So he was doing that. Yamanaka landed a couple grazing shots in the first round. And like I said, he showed some of those good reflexes and very good head movement. Nery has very good head movement, which allows him to slip punches and set up counters. So in round one, it was Nery's defensive ability neutralizing Yamanaka's jab and then landing some counters of his own. I think he set a good tone in round one, so I gave him round one. Going to round two, already Louis Nery's patience, because he's a very patient fighter, he begins to open up Yamanaka a little bit in the round two. Yamanaka, despite doing better work in this round than he did in his last round, where he's scoring with jabs to the body, a couple grazing jabs to the head, he even scored with a very nice hook, a counter hook that snapped Louis Nery's head back, like he was throwing a punch in the middle. He was in the middle of a punch, and Yamanaka gave him a check hook, and his head snaps back, and he flailed his arms. So Yamanaka has a better round in round two, but then you see Nery kind of regroup himself, regain his composure a little bit, and then after that, again Yamanaka still having problems getting that jab established, and he's not confident in shooting that left hand. So because of that, he's throwing jabs, and Nery, like I told you earlier, he has good head movement, so he's slipping a lot of those jabs, or he's parrying those jabs. But when he's slipping those jabs, more oftentimes than not, Yamanaka was getting countered because he just didn't have the head movement or the foot speed to get out of what Nery had for him. So that round 2 I also gave to Louis Nery. And then we go to round 3. This is definitely by far Yamanaka's best round. If you guys go on YouTube and you watch the fight, the Box Azteca, which is the Mexican telecast, because they did the fight, they actually gave this round to Yamanaka, and it was a close round. But I actually gave it a very close round to Louis Nery. Yamanaka had his best round of the fight. This is the round where he landed, I believe, his only flush left hand. I mean, this left hand that he landed on Louis Nery, like he got full extension on it. He turned it over and it landed right on the button. And Louis Nery was able to eat it like a champ. And he came back better. Yamanaka, scoring a lot more in this round than any other round, using his mobility, moving around the ring. At that point, he looks like he's beginning to settle into the fight against the younger fighter. But as he's settling in, Nery does what he has to do in that round. He beats the fight out of Yamanaka. Like I said, he's already opened up. He opened him up a little bit in round 2, and by round 3, Yamanaka's getting countered. He's getting hit to the body. He's getting hit upstairs, downstairs, and I think it was his mobility early on in the round that really saved him. Because if he was sitting there trading with Nery early on in that round, he probably gets stopped in round 3. But his success in the early part of the round, I believe, allowed him to not just get through the round, but in the eyes of someone win that round. But I gave that very close round to Louis Nery. I just don't think Yamanaka did enough good work in that round. And I believe that Nery was able to impose himself as the round went on. So round 3, I gave to Louis Nery. All right, and then the round where Yamanaka gets stopped, round 4. Actually, my bad. I got confused. Now, Yamanaka didn't land a flush left hand in round 3. Like, he actually landed in round 4. In the round 3, he was just kind of like, he was landing a lot of jabs, stepping to the right a little bit, landed a couple jabs to the stomach, and neutralizing for a couple very brief moments of the round. Round 4 is actually where Yamanaka lands the flush left hand that tests Nery's chin. Then he eats like a champ. Then he comes back. So then Nery takes it well, proceeds to pretty much just light the guy up with combinations from everywhere. He beats it from pillar to post. Yamanaka is still doing good work. He's throwing punches to the body. He's doing what he can to stay in the round. He actually gets all the way to like the last minute of the round. And if you guys go watch the fight, you'll be surprised how he gets to the last minute of the round, because Nery's just landing anything and almost everything he wants to land on Yamanaka. And then the fight finally gets stopped in 30 seconds left to go in the 4th round. And it was a great performance. It was a star-making performance for me from Louis Nery. You heard a lot about this guy. There was a lot of hype last year in some of the boxing circles. I remember last year, particularly at the WBC convention, that's where I really began to. I got a couple comments because I do my videos in the small weight classes, and people were saying, "Brandon, you should make a video about Louis Nery. Keep your eye for Louis Nery." I got comments like that on YouTube. So then I remember during the WBC convention last year, that's where I really began to hear his name, because a lot of people were saying that he's the prospect of the year, and boxing scene named him the prospect of the year last year, and that's how I really began to hear his name last December. And this guy proved his hype today. To go to Japan, your first step up fight, your first fight outside of your actual home country, to fight a guy like Yamanaka, who I know, yes, he's 34 years old, he's up there in age, but the man has had 12 title defenses. There were moments in that fight where Yamanaka's having success, where he's taking the momentum from Louis Nery. He could have easily folded. He could have easily, not won that fight or given this guy a reason to get back in the fight more. But that's not what he did. He stayed composed. He beat the fight out of him. He used his skill set, things that he's great at. He didn't sit there and trail Yamanaka because he would have lost. But he used his headed movement. He used his counter punching. And he sat there and he did what he had to do to beat Yamanaka. And I think this is a guy that, when you look at the landscape of 118, there's some good fighters at 118. You have the guys like Emmanuel Rodriguez. You have guys like I know Jamie McDonald's still in the division. I know he took up Payano, who's still in the division. It's an interesting division, but he's definitely a guy that when I look at the division, I could see him having a good title reign. Now, I'm not gonna say he's gonna have a Yamanaka long title reign, because it's very hard to have a title reign that long. To be a world champion for almost 6 years in the division, very, very hard to do. But yeah, I'm looking at the division. There's definitely if there's one fight that sticks out to me in the division as far as entertainment value goes, I think Luis Nery versus Emmanuel Rodriguez would be a good fight. Just for the simple fact that you have the whole Mexico versus Puerto Rico dynamic. Rodriguez also has good boxing skills and respectable punching powers, so I wouldn't mind seeing that fight. You have a couple of guys that one guy that Yamanaka fought. You have Librio Solis still in the division. Zolani Tete. It's a good division. It's a good division, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he does in the division. But what a win! I said if he's able to go over there and beat Yamanaka, it's gonna tell us a lot about him, and it did. So big shouts out to Luis Nery. He gets the 4th round stoppage. Yamanaka's title reign is over. Where does he go from here? I think for Yamanaka, he's gonna have to probably retire, man. He's had a great career. He's given us some great fights. The Anselmo Moreno fights are really good. He's been a world champion since I was in the 11th grade. So the guy's been putting in work, and he's been a top 10 pound for pound fighter for over half a decade now. So he deserves respect, and he'll probably go to the Hall of Fame one day. So big respect to him on taking on a young, tough contender like this in Eddie. And good fight. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Take the time to subscribe, and you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just gifting Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.